cannot stop at the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Well, some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the book. Won't you help me sing these songs of freedom? It's all I ever have. Redemption songs. Redemption songs. Redemption songs.
We'll continue our look at the last moments of famous musicians with the story of Kurt Cobain next.
You're listening to the ongoing history of new music with Alan Cross.
It's okay to reach out and ask for help. If you aren't sure where to go for the mental health support you need, phone 211 Nova Scotia by dialing 211. A community resource navigator will walk you through your options and connect you with resources and services in your community. 211 is available 24/7 in over 100 different languages. You can find mental health resources online at novascotia.ca/mental health. A message from the Government of Nova Scotia.
Your cell phone is ringing and you don't recognize the caller. And with your debt, fear starts to creep in. But you don't have to live like this. Visit wecanhelp.ca. Alan Marshall and Associates are government-regulated, licensed insolvency trustees who can help provide solutions to your debt problems. Depending on the circumstances, they can relieve up to 25, 50, 75% or more of your debt. Alan Marshall and Associates. Visit wecanhelp.ca to find an office near you.
Hey, Dad, can I put another log on the fire?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Just be careful, it's hot. At Goodfellas, we know there's nothing quite like the sound and warmth of a crackling fireplace.
Oh, keep that fire going.
Redemption songs.
This time, Mom.
It's all I
Looks
ever
like things are getting
had.
pretty heated.
Heated, ha ha ha, get it?
Memories that last
Because
a
they're
lifetime.
selling
Provided by
fireplaces.
Goodfellas
Fuck
Stoves
off.
and Chimneys. Come gather
kidding,
around
I
the
love you.
fire. Visit us at good-fellas.ca.
What am I,
Coffee
some
first
kind of
came
wines
to
guy?
Canada, it journeyed on wooden ships. Salty ocean air infused the beans, creating a smooth taste. That flavor was lost, but Salt Winds Coffee has recreated that traditional smooth taste with ocean air coffee, available at Sobeys.
Hey. Wait, what was the question?
Let me guess. One driving high combo, extra baked?
Whoa, wait, what?
Could I get a burger with a side of
Duh.
fries?
Fries?
Think you're a better driver when you're high? Think again. Smoking weed affects reaction time and concentration.
Wait,
A message from
what?
Canada.
Now back to the ongoing history of new music with Alan Cross. Brought to you by Seagram's 83 and Surge 105.
When Kurt Cobain died, it was shocking, but not entirely unexpected. Still, if you were around back then, you may remember when the news hit on the afternoon of Friday, April 8th, 1994. I just happened to be on the air that day.
3:38. I really don't want to do this. This is the latest from Seattle. A record company official says Nirvana lead singer Kurt Cobain shot himself to death at his Seattle home yesterday. Police say Cobain's body was found today with a shotgun wound to the head, a suicide note nearby. He had been recuperating from last month's overdose of painkillers and champagne. His mother says Cobain has been missing for 6 days, and she says the last time she spoke with her son, she told him not to join the stupid club of other rock stars who had died early. Kurt Cobain was 28.
So much has been written about Kurt since that day, including movies and documentaries, and we've been
Where
able
is
to piece
everybody?
together his final moments, more or less. Nirvana's last ever show was staged
There's
in an
somebody.
airport hangar in Munich, Germany
Listen,
on
this
March
is good
1st,
stuff.
1994, in front of about 3,000 people. Kurt was not well. He had a sore throat and was not having a great gig. The rest of the tour was canceled, so Kurt could recover from what doctors diagnosed as chronic bronchitis and laryngitis. He went to Rome with Courtney on what was supposed to be something of a vacation. But then there was a suicide attempt. He downed about 50 Rohypnol pills with some champagne and slipped into a coma. He recovered in hospital, but not before Sun Networks reported that he died. On March 12th, he and Courtney flew back to Seattle. there was an intervention by friends and bandmates at the house on March the 25th. That's when Kurt agreed, reluctantly, to go to rehab in Los Angeles. On March 30th, he and his friend Dylan Carlson went together to Stan Baker Sports, where he bought a shotgun for $303.37. Police had confiscated all his other guns, and he had many, because he seemed to be a threat to himself. So it was Dylan who officially bought the gun. That night, Kurt checked into the Exodus Recovery Center in Los Angeles. He stayed 2 nights, but then slipped out on the evening of April the 1st. He took a cab to the airport and bought a business class ticket on Delta Flight 788 to Seattle, seat 2F. His seatmate was Duff McKagan of Guns N' Roses. Once they landed, Duff offered Kirk a ride home, but he declined. A Canadian Nirvana fan at SeaTac Airport recognized Kurt and asked him to sign a copy of a book he had with him, Jane Austen's Mansfield Park. This was at about 1 a.m. on Saturday, April the 2nd. And for some reason, Kurt dated the autograph April 5th. Meanwhile, Courtney had been advised that Kurt had left the rehab center. She contacted a detective named Tom Grant to track him down. His mother filed a missing persons report. Calls were made to friends. The weird thing was that Kurt was back at the house at 171 Lake Washington Boulevard East the entire time. At about 6 in the morning, Kurt talked to Callie, the housekeeper, and Callie's girlfriend. And then over the next couple of days, he was seen in various places around Seattle, in a park, another house in nearby Carnation, Washington, with an unidentified friend, at a drug dealer's house, at a couple of hotels, and at a store called Seattle Guns, where he bought a box of 20-gauge shotgun shells. Why someone just didn't stake out the house is a mystery. Sometime on Tuesday, April the 5th, he went to the room above the greenhouse in the backyard. He wrote a suicide note detailing his anguish, apologizing for what he was about to do. The note included some lines from a Neil Young song. It's better to burn out than fade away. Kurt then loaded the shotgun and gave himself a massive injection of heroin. After putting all his drug paraphernalia away, he turned the gun on himself and shot himself in the head.
Allegedly.
He was found by an electrician who had come to work on something in the greenhouse the following morning. It was Friday, April 8th, 1994.
Join my OnlyFans. Join my OnlyFans. It's Sunday. This is the sound. And it's Sunday. This is the sound. I'm in the fucking driveway. Weird. No. Not right now. I already picked it out earlier. I haven't started it yet, my dear. I'm gonna start one and play with my belly button. I'm gonna call it like Naval Cadet. On my OnlyFans, I'm gonna. Once I start my OnlyFans, I'm trying to get my girlfriend to hook me up with something. I know you gotta download the app and then hook it to your bank account. I tried the other night.
The next tragedy on our list is Shannon Hoon of Blind Melon. He'd moved from Indiana to Los Angeles in 1985 when he was just 18. Yeah. And that's where he teamed up with a guy from Pennsylvania and 3 originally from Mississippi.
I know you guys.
Blind Melon was chosen as their name, from either a Cheech and Chong skit or from a term guitarist Roger Smith's father used for neighborhood stoners. Shannon ended up in the Guns N' Roses orbit because his sister had been friends with Axl Rose back in high school in Indiana. He actually sang backup vocals on a couple of Gunner songs and can be seen in the video for Don't Cry. In 1992, things blew up with Blind Melon's debut album, thanks largely to the single No Rain and the famous B-Girl video. Over the next 2 years, there were tours with Guns N' Roses and Ozzy and Big Audio Dynamite and Public Image Limited. By this time, drugs had become a real problem for Shannon. He'd just had a daughter with his girlfriend, and everybody was concerned for his well-being. On July 11th, 1995, he checked into rehab. He was discharged right around the time Blind Melon released their second album, which was called Soup. It was agreed that a drug counselor would accompany Shannon on the next tour. On October 20th, the band played a show at a club in Houston called Numbers. It did not go well. Shannon had an all-night drug binge and eventually had to be corralled for the tour bus ride to the next show in New Orleans. He stayed up all night doing coke during the 350-mile drive. And as soon as he arrived in New Orleans, he left the bus to score more coke. Early on the morning of October the 21st, he crept back into the bus and made his way to one of the bunks at the back. Around noon, Lyle Eves, the band's sound tech, went to wake Shannon up in his bunk for sound check. He was unresponsive. An ambulance was called, but it was too late. He was buried in Dayton, Indiana. His grave is inscribed with the lyrics he'd written to the song Change, the first song he ever wrote, and one that appeared on the band's debut album. It reads, I know we can't all stay here forever, so I want to write my words on the face of today, and they'll paint it.
I don't feel the sun's coming out today. Staying in, it's gonna find another way. As I sit here in this misery, I don't think I'll ever know, Lord, see the sun from here. Knows I fade away. They'll all look at me and say, and they'll say, hey, look at him, I'll never live that way. And that's okay, they're just afraid to change.
Afraid to change.
When you feel like they were living, you got to stand up and take a look away and go way to the sky. And when your deepest thoughts are broken, stop dreaming, it's time to die.
Stop dreaming, it's time to die.
And as we all wait for tomorrow, some ways are walking, other ways are afraid. But I know we can't all stay here forever. So I wanna write my words on a fence today, and then I'll paint it.
Hey, you guys, Amanda, I was waiting for some pretty girls to show up. You're gonna love this, Amanda. Hey, you guys, hugs. I've never heard this song before. I love it though.
We've talked about the death of Michael Hutchence of INXS in depth on another program. Let's quickly review what happened leading up to the morning of November 22nd, 1997. The best years of INXS seem to have been in the rear mirror by this time. Michael was having all sorts of personal problems, specifically with his relationship with UK TV presenter Paula Yates, the ex-wife of Boomtown rap singer Bob Geldof. He'd always lived a wild life.
Never heard it either. It's sounding good.
It just got
Blind Melon. It's called Blind Melon.
Attention was intense.
Change.
And Michael was
Blind Melon change. 4 people, 2 people. I had 4 people watching for a second there.
1992.
Yay.
That resulted in him suffering a fractured skull. He and Paula were into heroin too. In November 1997, Hutchence returned to Australia from the UK to start rehearsals with the band for a tour that was scheduled to start on the 25th. He was not in a good place.
What do you mean, Belly?
The turmoil with Paula and Bob was
Oh, wow.
taking over children.
I don't know,
She was
mine
expecting.
glitches
He was
sometimes.
self-medicated. On the night of Friday,
Belly
November
button.
21st, he went out for
We'll
an
talk
evening
about that
meal with his
later,
father and
okay?
stepmother. And he
We'll
seemed
talk
to be
about my
having a good
OnlyFans
time, but
later,
his
okay,
father
belly
couldn't
button?
shake the feeling that something was wrong. Around 10:30 that night, Michael went back to his suite, room 524 at the Ritz-Carlton
I didn't know you had to
Hotel
pay
in
for it,
Sydney.
but whatever.
He joked with 3 girls on the ride up in the elevator. Once he got to the room, he went on one last bender.
And I
Calls were made
don't
to Kim Wilson, an
understand why
Australian
I
soap opera
sleep
actress and former
all
girlfriend.
day.
She
And I
and her current
start
boyfriend came
to
to the hotel
complain
where
when
they
there's
drained the
no
bar until about 2 that morning before
rain.
going back to Michael's room.
All
They
I
left the
can
hotel
do
around
is
4.
read a book to
At
stay
around
awake.
5, Michael called Bob Geldof twice to complain about a court injunction
I'm
that kept Paula from traveling with her
insane.
kids to see him in Australia in time for Christmas. The second call was a loud argument that lasted for about 20 minutes. At 5:38 a.m., Paula called. At this point, Michael sounded very desperate. Sometime after that, Michael went down to the front desk and asked the clerk to mail 2 letters, one to Paula and the other to a friend in Hong Kong. And that was the last time anyone saw him alive. More phone calls were made, but because it was so early in the morning, all of them went
Amanda
to
says
answering
hello.
machines. At 9:38 a.m., he left a message for Martha Troop, his
Such a
manager, who was
sweetheart.
based in New York. But it was 7:30 p.m. there the previous day, so she wasn't immediately available to take the call. She did get the message a few minutes later and immediately called John Martin, the In-Excess tour manager. Meanwhile, Michael placed a call to Michelle Bennett, another ex-girlfriend. This was at 9:54 a.m. She was worried about his state of mind, so she rushed over to the hotel. When she called room 524 from the lobby, there was no answer. Knocking on the door at 10:40 a.m. received no response. So all she could do was leave a note at reception.
Yeah, we do, Amanda.
Meanwhile, depressed, drunk, and sleep-deprived, Michael had gone into a violent rage, throwing furniture around, breaking his hand, punching a wall, and scattering 5 different prescription pills.
I know, right?
Sometime between 9:55
You should see the one I'm got inside.
10:30 a.m., he hanged himself with a leather snakeskin belt from a doorknob. His body was found by a housekeeper at 11:50
Housekeeping?
a.m. There was no suicide note.
Ask me if no it's true. I can tell you. I was standing, you were there, the words collided, and they could never tear us apart. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Yes, Amanda, I found this hat on the bus. Yeah. From here to Lonely. Don't know how. RJ, my brother, boo. Say hi to Amanda. RJ, say hi to Amanda. Would never, big time, tear us apart. I'm just rolling up and joining. Give me a second here.
In a moment, the story of how a brilliant English singer met her end while on vacation in Mexico.
You're listening to the ongoing history of new music with Alan Cross. I ride because it takes me places I've never been. I ride to feel the wind in my face.
To connect with other riders in the community.
And for the peace and clarity I
Oh,
feel
you guys
when
know
I'm
each
on the
other?
road.
Okay, yeah.
Because
Good,
it fuels my passion for adventure. ProCycle has been
Bunch
Atlantic
of
Canada's
fucking
home for
cuties you
motorcycle
are.
and power sport
Sorry,
enthusiasts
freaking
for
cuties.
40 years. years. We understand your passion for riding because we...
I got no friends. I always wanna stay, wanna go, wanna stay, wanna go. I don't know.
You'll find my body.
I never know what to say till I'm already walking away. Wanna punch you in the face,
And
I don't wanna play. I wanna throw it all away. I feel like a
zombie covered in confetti. You'll find my body
fully covered in confetti. I tried calling somebody to tell them come get me.
You'll find my body fully covered in confetti. Na 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 na. Rum pam pam da 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 dum pam pam. Bum da 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 dum dum dum.
Look at the people, they're crazy. Look at the people, they're crazy. Look at the people, they're crazy. Look at the pupils dilating. Look at the people, they're
Crazy.
15 horsepower engines. Kirsty was right in the way. She pushed her 15-year-old son, Jamie, out of the way just in time. But the boat hit her in the head and caused severe chest injuries. She was killed instantly by the props.
Oh, no.
She was actually split in two, slicing her from the back of the neck to her waist. Her left leg and most of her chest were virtually severed. So much tissue was just gone. Turns out that the boat was owned and captained by a Mexican millionaire named Guillermo Gonzalez Nova, the owner of a large Mexican chain of supermarkets as well as hundreds of restaurants. Although he first apparently admitted to being at the helm at the time of the accident, he was seen being led away from the scene in handcuffs. The story later changed. The news story was that a 26-year-old employee named Jose Senyam was actually piloting the boat at the time of the accident, although there are a number of eyewitnesses who dispute that, including Diaz, the dive master.
Amanda, I will.
If he was
I will,
driving,
Amanda. I
well,
sent
he had
them
no
to
documents
Chicago.
to prove that he was anything more than a deckhand.
I sent chips to Chicago.
Witnesses say that
Ketchup
the boat
chips.
was going much faster than what had been claimed. It was certainly moving faster than the claimed 1 knot.